Ancient Egypt was a civilization that emerged in the northeastern region of Africa around 3100 BC and lasted until the conquest of Egypt by Alexander the Great in 332 BC. The civilization was centered along the Nile River and was characterized by its advanced culture, technology, and political organization. The ancient Egyptians are best known for their massive pyramids, monumental temples, and impressive artwork. They also developed a complex writing system, known as hieroglyphics, which allowed them to record important information and tell stories. Additionally, the ancient Egyptians were skilled in agriculture and engineering, and they built impressive irrigation systems and canals to make the most of the Nile River's fertile floodplains. The ancient Egyptian society was highly structured, with the pharaoh at the top of the social hierarchy. The pharaohs were believed to be divine rulers who governed with the help of a powerful bureaucracy and a network of local officials. The society also had a complex religious system, with a pantheon of gods and goddesses that were worshipped in temples throughout the land. The history of ancient Egypt is divided into three main periods: the Old Kingdom, about 2700 to 2200 BCE, the Middle Kingdom, 2050 to 1800 BCE, and the New Kingdom, about 1550 to 1100 BCE. The New Kingdom was followed by a period called the Late New Kingdom, which lasted to about 343 BCE. The Old Kingdom of ancient Egypt is a period that lasted from around 2686 BC to 2181 BC. It is also known as the Age of the Pyramids, because during this time, the pharaohs of Egypt built some of the most impressive monuments in human history, including the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Sphinx, and numerous other pyramids and temples. The Old Kingdom of ancient Egypt is a period of Egyptian history that is known for its cultural achievements, including the construction of some of the most impressive monuments in human history. The period began with the rule of the pharaoh Djoser, who commissioned the construction of the Step Pyramid at Saqqara, which was designed by the architect Imhotep. Building pyramids in ancient Egypt was a monumental undertaking that required incredible amounts of resources, organization, and labor. The pyramids were built as tombs for the pharaohs and their consorts, and they were believed to serve as a gateway to the afterlife. The construction of the pyramids began during the Old Kingdom, around 2686 BC, and continued through the Middle Kingdom and into the New Kingdom. The most famous pyramids, such as the Great Pyramid of Giza, were built during the Old Kingdom. The process of building a pyramid began with the selection of a suitable site and the design of the pyramid's dimensions and layout. The construction process was overseen by a team of skilled architects, engineers, and overseers, who worked closely with the pharaoh and his officials to ensure that the project was completed on time and to the required standards. The construction process involved quarrying large blocks of stone, transporting them to the construction site, and then lifting them into place using ramps, levers, and pulleys. The blocks were then carefully fitted together to create the smooth, angled surfaces of the pyramid. The labor force responsible for building the pyramids was made up of tens of thousands of skilled and unskilled workers, including farmers, craftsmen, and laborers. The workers were organized into gangs and supervised by overseers, who were responsible for ensuring that the work was completed efficiently and to a high standard. Despite the incredible effort involved in building the pyramids, they were not always successful in protecting the bodies of the pharaohs. Many of the pyramids were plundered by tomb robbers in antiquity, and the bodies of the pharaohs were often destroyed or lost. Despite this, the pyramids remain one of the most enduring symbols of ancient Egypt, and they continue to fascinate and inspire people to this day. During the Old Kingdom, the pharaohs of Egypt were considered to be divine rulers, and they governed with the help of a powerful bureaucracy and a network of local officials. The pharaohs had absolute power and were responsible for maintaining the country's prosperity and defending its borders from foreign invaders. One of the most impressive achievements of the Old Kingdom was the construction of the pyramids. The pharaohs believed that the pyramids would serve as their eternal resting place and ensure their safe passage into the afterlife. The largest and most impressive pyramid is the Great Pyramid of Giza, which was built by the pharaoh Khufu and is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The Old Kingdom was also a time of great cultural and intellectual development in Egypt. The ancient Egyptians developed a system of writing known as hieroglyphics, which they used to record important information such as religious texts, historical events, and administrative records. They also developed advanced mathematics, including a decimal system and a method for calculating the volume of pyramids. The economy of the Old Kingdom was based on agriculture, and the Egyptians developed advanced irrigation systems to make the most of the fertile Nile River valley. They also traded with neighboring regions to obtain luxury goods, such as gold, ivory, and spices. Despite its many achievements, the Old Kingdom eventually fell into decline due to a variety of factors. Political instability, economic problems, and environmental factors such as drought and famine contributed to the collapse of the centralized government. The pharaohs lost their absolute power, and the country was divided into smaller regional kingdoms known as nomes. This period, known as the First Intermediate Period, was a time of political and social upheaval, which lasted for several centuries before the emergence of the Middle Kingdom. The Middle Kingdom of ancient Egypt was a period that lasted from around 2055 BC to 1650 BC. It is considered to be a period of cultural and political renewal, following the period of political and social upheaval known as the First Intermediate Period. During the Middle Kingdom, Egypt was reunified under the rule of the pharaohs, who re-established a strong central government and restored the country's prosperity. The pharaohs were considered to be divine rulers who governed with the help of a powerful bureaucracy and a network of local officials. The Middle Kingdom was characterized by a renewed focus on culture and the arts. The ancient Egyptians produced some of their most beautiful and influential works of art during this time, including the famous statue of the pharaoh Senusret III, which is considered to be one of the masterpieces of ancient Egyptian sculpture. The Middle Kingdom was also a time of great architectural achievement. The pharaohs built impressive temples and fortresses, and they continued the tradition of pyramid building, although on a smaller scale than during the Old Kingdom. The economy of the Middle Kingdom was based on agriculture, and the ancient Egyptians continued to develop advanced irrigation systems to make the most of the fertile Nile River valley. They also traded with neighboring regions to obtain luxury goods, such as gold, copper, and timber. Despite its many achievements, the Middle Kingdom eventually fell into decline due to a variety of factors, including political instability, economic problems, and foreign invasions. The period was followed by the Second Intermediate Period, a time of political fragmentation and foreign domination. However, the legacy of the Middle Kingdom continued to influence Egyptian culture and society for centuries to come. The New Kingdom of ancient Egypt was a period that lasted from around 1550 BC to 1070 BC. It is considered to be one of the most prosperous and powerful periods in Egyptian history, characterized by a series of powerful pharaohs who expanded the boundaries of the empire and ushered in a period of great cultural and artistic achievements. During the New Kingdom, Egypt was ruled by a series of strong pharaohs who extended their control over neighboring territories and established a vast empire that stretched from Nubia in the south to the Euphrates River in the east. The pharaohs were considered to be divine rulers who governed with the help of a powerful bureaucracy and a network of local officials. The New Kingdom was characterized by a flowering of art and culture. The ancient Egyptians produced some of their most beautiful and influential works of art during this time, including the famous bust of Queen Nefertiti, the tomb of Tutankhamun, and numerous other sculptures, paintings, and monuments. The New Kingdom was also a time of great architectural achievement. The pharaohs built impressive temples, palaces, and fortresses, including the massive temple complex of Karnak, which remains one of the most impressive archaeological sites in Egypt today. The economy of the New Kingdom was based on agriculture, and the ancient Egyptians continued to develop advanced irrigation systems to make the most of the fertile Nile River valley. Despite its many achievements, the New Kingdom eventually fell into decline due to a variety of factors, including political instability, economic problems, and invasions by foreign powers. The period was followed by the Third Intermediate Period, a time of political fragmentation and decline, which lasted until the conquest of Egypt by Alexander the Great in 332 BC. However, the legacy of the New Kingdom continued to influence Egyptian culture and society for centuries to come. Despite its many achievements, ancient Egypt was not immune to outside threats. The civilization was invaded and ruled by various foreign powers throughout its history, including the Assyrians, Persians, Greeks, and Romans. Nevertheless, the legacy of ancient Egypt continues to fascinate people around the world today.